Welcome everyone. Today we are tackling an essential aspect of learning and improving. Why is it crucial to revise your mistakes immediately after they occur? Let's dive into why this process is more than just aiming for a correct answer and how it can put you on a trajectory of rapid and continuous improvements. Now, when it comes to effective revision, there are 3 steps. The first step is to agree that you made a mistake, which means that your thinking or your approach was wrong. The second step is to identify the reason for your mistake. And the third step is to write down ways to prevent that mistake from happening again, and confirm that you've actually understood and found an effective way to prevent that mistake. Now, over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to explain how do you go about doing each of these steps effectively. Let's start with the first point, which is agree that you made a mistake, which means that your thinking was indeed wrong. So when you make a mistake, it's because your mind possibly gravitated towards a wrong answer choice or a wrong line of thinking. Now, it's really important to revisit those mental connections that you had while solving the question, so that you can understand why and where your brain deviated. These mental connections vanish rapidly as the time progresses, which is why this activity should be done on the same day that you solve the question, ideally within the hour. How do you go about doing this? First, read the solution and be in complete agreement that your mind indeed went the wrong way. This agreement is absolutely critical. Note, do not give a pat on your back if you chose an answer choice that is the most popular incorrect answer choice. Don't consider that to be the second best choice. Remember, on the GMAT, you have only one correct answer, and every other answer choice is incorrect regardless of how popular that answer choice is. In other words, there are no close choices. Now, once you've done this, let's move to step number 2, identifying the reason or the cause for your mistake. Identify why your brain gravitated in the wrong direction. Usually, I would divide these reasons into 2 categories. One is behavioral, the other one is ability. Now, what is ability? Ability is anything that you tried to do but were unsuccessful to do. For example, if you tried, but if you could not visualize a set of numbers, could not put them in a pie chart, or if you tried and spent time but could not interpret a word, that's purely an ability reason. There are times when we try and identify which of the 3 conclusions is the main conclusion in a bold-faced question. If you're unable to do that despite spending time, then it's an ability issue. On the other hand, if you made a mistake because you rushed through a sentence, because you did not spend enough time visualizing the meaning of an answer choice, or if you did not spend enough time pre-thinking, then these are what I call as behavioral reason. Whatever be the reason, put them into these 2 buckets, ability issue or a behavioral issue. Here's an expert insight that I have from reviewing hundreds and hundreds of error logs. If your ability in any subsection is 65th, 70th percentile or higher, 80% of the time you would make a mistake is because of a behavioral issue and not an ability issue. Now, once you've agreed with the mistake, identified or bucketed the reason for the mistake, let's kind of figure out how can you prevent this mistake from happening in the future, which is our point number 3. So based on the cause in point number 2, I create a corrective action. Now, usually the corrective action is a combination of a behavioral change and focused practice. For example, if the reason you made a mistake was because you ignored a keyword because you were rushing through the passage, and that ignorance or that ignoring the keyword led you to infer something incorrectly, then right away create a list of similar keywords. Also tell yourself that you'd slow down when you see content that's slightly more dense than the content that you're used to seeing. If, on the other hand, you could not visualize an answer choice despite spending enough time on it, then use ChatGPT to generate 3 or 4 very similar answer choices and try and visualize those. By doing that, what you're doing is making your brain habitual of seeing such content and visualizing this. You're building those visual maps. The more you do that, the less are the chances that you're going to make the same mistake again. Bottom line, the process of revising mistakes is not just about recognizing where you went wrong, it's also about transforming those errors into stepping stones towards mastery. This proactive approach to learning demands not only awareness, but also a willingness to adapt and refine your strategies continuously. By rigorously adapting and applying these steps, you ensure that each mistake teaches you something valuable, turning potential setbacks into catalysts for growth. With that, as we always say, happy learning.